this rogue cleric who's kind of in their back pocket. They're the last resort. They're the renegade. They don't go by the book, but they get the job done.
Oh my god.
And damn it, they're the best damn cleric you have ever seen.
I didn't think it was going to happen, but he upped the edge.
Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons & Dragons fix. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornagle.
And I'm Will Meldon.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This week we'll be looking at the Cleric Rogue Multiclass, and then the devious little goblin, the Nilbog, from Bolo's Guide to Monsters. So pull up a chair and listen up. I love how in that break between it, we all just kind of dance to the non-existent music because it's added in post.
It was there in my head.
Yes.
I can't even honestly remember the music.
No,
I'm the one who adds it in, and I still can't even. Like, I hear that song so many times, and I was sitting here trying to listen to it in my head, and I still got nothing.
Guys, I think we're just stupid.
Yes.
I
think that's been established about 9 episodes ago.
All right, so today the Rogue and the Cleric. So 2 classes, very different. Rogue is more of a single sneak attack damage, exploiting their enemy's weakness. Cleric, more of a spellcaster, full spellcaster, with powers from the gods. Interested how this is going to work out. Kevin, first thoughts?
I think there's a lot of potential here. Initially, I think a lot of people's gut reaction is, oh, this is kind of a weird class combination to mush together. Because they hear cleric, so they think these, like, they almost think paladin, like this lawful good type, but they don't really have to be. A cleric just gets their power from a god. And there's an entire spectrum of gods. They're like the gods line up with the alignment system.
Right.
So you could be a cleric to a chaotic evil god, a lawful evil god, a neutral god, which makes it really easy to kind of mesh with anything. And then mechanically, it's interesting. I think there's some potential there, but also some really not so great combinations.
First thing that comes to mind is, what are the multi-class attributes that we need? We need to have
13
wisdom.
Dex and 13 wisdom.
That's not too bad. Only 2. We've had a lot worse ones so far.
Oh, yeah.
Will, first thoughts?
Yeah, no, there's definitely the argument that people club themselves over the head with stereotypes on classes, that the rogue is pathologically destined to become an edgy atheist type, and the clerics have to be Westboro Baptist Church style, zealots. That's not even remotely true.
No, I would agree. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, and I know it's not going to work, but I want to see if we can try, is that trickery domain from the clerics, because it officially should mesh well with the rogues. It kind of keeps up with that alignment.
It's the most obvious.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a given. It's almost too easy.
Yeah, we've done this before where it's almost like a trap. It's like, if you want to have a rogue aspect to your cleric, you choose trickery domain.
Right.
So a trickery domain rogue multi-class is kind of just doubling down on that.
Right. And so the trickery domain
also sucks.
It has potential. When multi-classed out of it into a rogue, I think it has potential. By itself, it's almost cool. It does some really cool stuff, but it's like a once a day power for all of it.
That's going to be
once
a
per short
yikes
rest
for me. Fam.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue, is the fact that it relies heavily on that channel divinity for the invoke duplicity, which lets them get advantage when they want, kind of, because you can have your clone, whatever it's specifically called, move into the correct positioning, and then you can always get that sneak attack, kind of stay further back, take advantage of that.
You want to briefly explain how it works?
Yeah, it's channel divinity ability, so depending on the level, you get that once, twice, 3 times a day, and I believe it's just you, as an action, create a copy of yourself. It can cast spells from your clone, I believe. Touch spells, or is it any spells?
It's any spell.
Any spell. You can cast any spell. Also, channel divinity resets on a short rest.
It does. Okay.
So you could do it a little more often.
Is that just for clerics?
What do you mean?
Do paladins as well? They also have
I don't know.
channel divinity.
This isn't the paladin episode.
Sorry.
I dumped all knowledge of paladins out of my head to hold this in there.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not a terrible ability. Channel divinities really vary in power. Some of them are super useful. Whereas like the Forge Clerics one isn't useful in combat. It's can be useful in other situations. Trickery Domain, it's very much for combat. I can't think of any other time you'd want to use it. But overall, it just doesn't seem great to me.
Well, they do lack imagination. You can't see using Invoke Duplicity outside of combat.
It only lasts a minute.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, most channel divinities do only last a minute.
Okay, you're right. That's really limited.
It's
I guess
pretty clearly for combat.
Okay, I guess there's some marginal situation, but if it's only
Right.
a minute with having the clone,
So your minute-long jailbreak would be a great use for this. It's like, oh no, I'm in the cell, officer, while you're sneaking out the back. But other than that, no, it's pretty combat focused.
I'm pretty sure you'd blow your cover when you tell the officer, "No, I'm in the cell."
Don't check.
what am I looking at? Oh, I guess you're right.
Where are your friends? Well, they're not trickery clerics.
But that god does line up with what you'd expect of a rogue.
Damn it, Will.
I'm so sorry.
Hitting the mic stand with a beer bottle.
It's fine.
It's we were in the middle saying stuff. I don't think we're cutting it around. Just keep going. It's fine.
Sounds good. Totally threw me off.
Yeah.
So
I like what you could within combat. What you could do with Invoke Duplicity. Being able to cast spells through your clone is really cool and adds a lot of flexibility. And then multi-classing with the rogue, so the rogue's main feature is sneak attack, where there's a couple ways to trigger it, but one of them is if you have advantage on attack, you get your sneak attack and your attacks do big damage. So Invoke Duplicity, you could put the clone within 5 feet of your target, and then you get advantage. So you could give yourself sneak attack. So that's really great. It's just somewhat limited because it's through Channel Divinity.
right, definitely. One thing that I kind of noted is that at 8th level for the cleric, you get that 1d8 poison. Really, for any cleric at 8th level, you generally get that additional 1d8 of damage.
Yeah, either to a cantrip or to a melee attack.
Correct.
And when you're picking your cleric domain to multi-class with a rogue, I think you'll probably really want to go for one where it adds the damage to your melee attack. Otherwise, you're kind of really losing out on the rogue aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really going to have to be a more melee-centric rogue, which isn't a problem, but just for that additional portion, if you're using I guess when I think of a rogue, I always think of off to the side, using their crossbow, looking for that opportune moment to make a strike. But there are other types of rogues that are more up in the fight. What about rogue subclasses? We haven't brought anything up for that. The first thing that comes to mind is going to be that Arcane Trickster, which is, in my opinion, the worst of the rogue classes. It's like the Eldritch Knight of rogues, and it just doesn't do much. What are your...
You think?
Yeah,
I like both of those. I played
Eldritch Knight has some utility because a fighter is just always going to be good in their own way. But the Arcane Trickster doesn't have very many useful level up abilities. I don't remember what levels they get their stuff, but it focuses on Mage Hand a lot.
Yeah, which is really cool. It makes your mage hand able to manipulate objects, pick people's pockets, put things into it, which is really, really useful. You could even disarm traps and pick locks with your mage hand.
I will say that a lot of the rogue stuff seems very useful, but almost from a perspective of, boy, I would like these skills in real life. In a campaign, you find yourself picking pockets very, very rarely.
Because you haven't played an Arcane Trickster.
Oh, because I haven't played that.
When the skill's there, you find the need.
No, I mean, that's fair enough, and I can get behind that idea. I mean, somebody's walking away and you need a key. Boop, pickpocket them.
Why can't the sorcerer do that?
What do you mean, like with a mage hand?
Mage hand specifically cannot pickpocket. They can't interact with somebody like that. It's part of the spell. Then the Arcane Trickster's 3rd level ability, Mage Hand Ledger Domain. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Sounds wrong. I don't know. Adds the ability to do that. You have a more dexterous Mage Hand where you can pick pockets, put things on people, pick locks, disarm traps with it.
Do card tricks.
Yeah.
That seems very isolated as far as usefulness, but
I do card tricks in almost every session.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I'm at a bar, I'm like, I want to make some friends. I'll do some card tricks.
Yeah, with my mage hand.
With my mage hand.
Yeah, because if you do them with your normal hands, people just don't care.
No, I still will signal that mage hand only seems cool because we all wish we had it.
And anytime I played a character with Mage Hand, we used it all the time.
I agree. For some reason, the past year, Mage Hand has not come up though. I know it sounds that's totally isolated, and I agree. Mage Hand's totally useful, but just for whatever reason, it hasn't been a thing that I've seen us use.
Well, I think it's because in a DM situation, you look at a challenging obstacle to overcome, and you have to think anybody could have Mage Hand. If they're going to ruin this with Mage Hand, I'm going to make sure Mage Hand doesn't work.
Right.
So you do have kind of there is the adversarial DM mindset where you're like, I'm not going to let you cantrip your way out of this brilliant puzzle I made.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you pull this lever and it's going to explode. And it's like, oh, I just pull it with my Mage Hand. It's like, oh no, curses! I only made the explosion 30 feet.
If only I had thought of cantrips.
Or you just allow your players to win.
No, Kevin, you have to beat.
You know.
No, I'm just kidding. But
I guess there's that whole argument of, do you set it up where these traps and puzzles are put in place by somebody who's... You try and build it realistically, like, all right, what's this person going to think? They're not really going to think through, oh, this group of high-level adventurers is going to blow through here with Mage Hand and all these other magical abilities. I want this to stop 98% of people coming through. And then a group of high-level adventurers of Mage Hand and magic abilities happens to come through because that's your party, and they wreck it, and it's like, hey, we won. Or do you build it as a DM to build it difficult for your party?
I generally go with the latter, but
For me, it depends on the levels. If we're talking the first 5 levels, then they're going to be in those. We're trying to stop 98% of the population. In which case, yeah, sure. If you think to use your Mage Hand, good job. Once you get up to those higher levels, though, you need to start making the dungeons, I'll just say in this scenario, or traps, whatever, a little bit more complicated.
oh, you have to use telekinesis.
Another cool thing about Arcane Trickster of Mage Hand is at 13th level, so kind of high for a multi-class, but they could use a bonus action to give themselves advantage on an attack with their Mage Hand. The Mage Hand could go and slap someone in the face and distract them, and then your next attack gets advantage. So you could give yourself sneak attack.
With the trickster mentality of that, I would just have it do the thing where it taps them on the right shoulder and then you stab them on the left.
Yeah.
That's all I got. That'd be my entire character.
That's kind of an escalation of a classic grade school prank.
Yeah.
Tap, tap.
Made you look, stabbed you in the kidney.
Bet you weren't expecting a rapier to the kidneys.
This is one of the first times that we've brought up feats, or I've brought up feats at least. But this would actually be a fantastic class to take that medium armor master. It gets rid of the disadvantage on stealth checks when wearing medium armor.
Oh, okay.
So then you could still fully explore that medium armor since you get that as a cleric, and keep all the stealthy attributes of being a rogue.
Yeah. I didn't think of that.
So you can get up to an 18 AC.
That's
that
pretty
really
good for a rogue.
Mm-hmm.
But then especially for all the other defensive stuff, like cunning action, evasion, something dodge or whatever. Forgot the name of it.
When you do the invoke duplicity, is it when that thing is within 5 feet of you, any attacks have disadvantage on you, or was it? I don't remember how that one works.
Advantage against your foes.
You get advantage.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not they get disadvantage.
Yeah, the entire rogue. That's great for a rogue.
Very much so.
Because they love advantage.
So do I. Everybody loves advantage.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
But a rogue
Yes.
gets a fucking handful of D6s every time they get advantage. That is hard to pass up.
Right. I did notice that there was a lot of spell crossover though. So that's, I won't say a huge
Between
issue.
the trickster and the cleric?
Correct.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you're going to be getting the exact same spells from the trickery cleric that you would get from the arcane trickster rogue, just quicker as the cleric, because the trickery rogue is 1/3 spellcaster, so it takes until level 7 to even get second level spells.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's kind of good, kind of bad, because you can almost flesh out your trickster rogue by going into that cleric and still getting useful spells and not having to wait until you're basically near the end of the campaign to get anything worthwhile.
Right. And one more thing on Arcane Trickster. This is regardless of the multi-class, just because you're shitting on it.
Mm-hmm.
The level 17 ability is amazing. Spell Thief. I know it's not till 17.
Read it off though.
Yeah, so I'm not. It's kind of long. I won't read the whole thing, but essentially you can cast Counterspell It's not literally counter spell, but it has the same mechanics. If it works, it cancels the effect, and then you steal that creature's ability to cast that spell for a day. So then you could cast that creature's spell, and they can no longer cast that spell.
I actually did not know that. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's incredibly obnoxious.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. How limited is that?
Um,
Like, what resource does it take? Does it take any?
long rest. Once per
per-
long. Yeah. But still.
yeah.
And you get the spell for a day.
Yeah.
And I don't think it even needs to be one you can normally cast. Let me...
Didn't seem like it from your very brief description,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, spell casting ability modifier. The DC equals your spell save DC. On a fail save, you negate the spell's effect against you, and you steal the knowledge of the spell if it is at least first level and of a level you can cast. It doesn't even need to be a wizard spell.
okay.
Then for the next 8 hours, you know the spell, and you can cast it using your regular spell slots, which means you can also use your clerik spell slots.
Ooh.
Is
And
there
then
a
the creature
challenge
can't
rating,
cast.
or not a challenge rating? Is there a DC associated with stealing the spell?
The
They
You
probably-
force the creature to make a saving throw against your DC using
Okay.
their spellcasting ability modifier.
I'm sorry, what's the saving throw? What ability does it say?
Their spellcasting ability modifier.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that is incredibly dope and totally not worthy of multi-class. But hey, if we ever have a level 17 campaign, I will think about rolling a rogue in the arcane area.
Good. Glad I convinced you.
I'm just kidding. Anybody who has a rogue is not a person.
Why do
People
you...
don't roll rogues. They're the worst class in the... I'm just kidding.
No, you really do hate rogues.
I do hate rogues. They ruin encounters.
I've come to accept them a little bit more. They really don't. I mean,
Yeah,
they
don't ruin
they do a
encounters.
bunch of damage, but I think there's just like any other type of class, you just have to kind of work around it. You know, if they keep doing tons and tons and tons of damage because you make it really easy for them to get their sneak attack, you're just messing up as a DM. It's your job to counter that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Or you
if it's
just
abused.
allow it. I mean,
Yeah,
if-
so-
I think if you crunch the numbers, they're pretty much stay in line with a fighter.
Right.
Like, assuming they hit. If their one attack hits,
Mhm.
it kind of stays in line with all of the fighter's attacks hitting.
Yep.
So it's more swingy, but it's... So I guess you could have a series of really lucky rolls and just absolutely decimate an encounter, but it could kind of happen anyways.
Until we start to think about the other cleric domain that I wanted to bring up, which is the grave domain.
Oh, he said it.
So
It does fit really well with...
it fits super
especially
well.
like Assassin.
With the assassin, and I've got written on my sheet max edge, because this is the edgiest rogue cleric combination you could think of. We've got
Death
a
Domain, but
death domain.
would be
Yeah,
edgier.
yeah, I
but
said
that's
grave.
kind of the more... That's in the DMG, the Dungeon Master
right,
Guide.
right.
It's more of like a build this as your bad guy
right.
type class. We don't use it too much.
Yes, but I guess the grave cleric really isn't super edgy. I mean, it's more of just like teetering on the edge of death, and I decide when things live and die, but that's because the gods have granted me
That
this
is an
power.
incredibly
It's
edgy
super
thing to
edgy.
say.
Yeah, never mind. I'm sticking with that.
decide when things live or die.
Right, and so that's basically how you'd play the character, is just this like extreme edge lord. I mean, the only way that I could personally do that is if I was trying to be as hammy as possible, and just like, you know, the rogue brooding in the corner, the stereotypical rogue, but mixed with a extra level of edge. But its channel divinity does something very fun, which is it gives the creature vulnerability to the damage it takes on the next hit. So if you use your channel divinity on something, it's now going to be vulnerable to whatever damage you throw at it. You get your sneak attack, and it's doubled.
Holy shit.
You're doubling your sneak attack.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if you crit on that?
Yep.
If you're like with the divination wizard who hands you, all right, well, here's the 20 I rolled for
Yep.
today. Oh, my God.
This is the part where I really hate rogues, because they can just like do this encounter ending shit. It's like, oh, you get a double crit sneak attack. What the hell, man?
Yeah, I was trying to think really long and hard about how we could get the, basically get this out on the first turn. Because if the assassin goes first and they get their sneak attack, they get like automatic advantage. So then the only issue is you can't use your channel divinity. That's an action. You would need to be hasted first. And that's just, you know, very specific, too specific for me to go down. But in 2 turns, you could get an attack that potentially kills. I mean, it'd be like just throwing out a number like over 100 damage. Pretty easy.
I like it.
Yeah.
and that's
I don't.
you only need 2 levels in cleric for that.
Right.
That's a really good dip.
Yep.
And then you get, I think, medium armor. Then I forgot to look that up. If you start as a rogue, multi-class, and a cleric, do you still get medium armor?
Yes, you do, but you would want to go to at least 4 to, again, get that
Yeah.
feat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you don't need to take the feat from the cleric. You could just get to an ASI for the rogue and
Right.
take that feat. That's no problem.
Yeah. Also, all medium. I don't think all medium armor gives you disadvantage.
Correct.
The best medium armor does. The second best doesn't.
Okay, so that still seems.
You're looking at 1 AC difference for,
Well, it also
advantage,
removes
disadvantage.
So no, it also removes the max of +2 on your dexterity. That's the real good part about medium
it
armor
just
master.
completely removes that?
Yep.
That's,
I think it actually raises it 1.
all right. That's still ridiculously good.
Yeah, so-
I'm currently playing a cleric in our campaign, and there is a beauty to having a just absurd AC.
Is it 22 now?
It's closing in on 22. We're getting there. We're gonna get to 22. We're gonna get to 25, and Kevin's gonna hate me.
I'm just gonna start throwing dex saves at you. It'll be fine.
Damn it!
Well, don't worry, he's going to be in my paladin.
He attacks
aura.
you. Roll a dex save. Why? Because I'm sick of your AC.
That's great.
I say medium armor master. You could add 3 rather than 2 to your AC.
There we go. Yep.
Just double checking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can have your dexterity at 16. That's giving you +3. Then you get, I think it's breastplate. Is that the best one?
Half plate.
Half plate. Okay, and that's I think it's 15.
15.
Add 3 instead of 2. So again, you're at that 18 AC. That's great as a rogue. I mean,
Is there any reason a rogue couldn't have a shield?
no.
No.
So 20.
So 20, all right. Because a cleric, there's a big precedent for clerics being sword and board style,
Mm-hmm.
shield one hand, and rogues generally just one hand. So adding a shield to that, it's just pure advantage.
You know what the downside is?
What's the disadvantage?
No. You know what your weapon has to be? A rapier.
Oh, it's got to be a rapier. The rapier is the coolest weapon.
It doesn't
so
have to
cool.
be. Again, it can be. I think a short sword
Or
is
It's
also.
a D6 though. Rapier's the D8.
Yep.
The D8 finesse weapon. I'm
There's
actually getting a little sick of
only one.
rapiers. I think.
Same.
Yeah.
I really wish there was another finesse weapon that was a D8, and you
guess
can
could
reflavor them.
Yeah, just reskin something. But I'm getting a little sick of it.
Same.
We
here.
need to look into somebody who's been like, oh, I'm going to look at all these medieval weapons and reskin all of them so they make sense and people don't get sick of rapiers.
Honestly, if you want me to go down that rabbit hole, I just don't think a rapier should be 1d8 anyways. It's
They're
just a little,
really not good.
yeah, it's just a little pokey sword. How is that any better than a short sword? What's different? Why would it be a d8 over a d6, just like the short sword is?
Because it's more expensive.
Okay, so it's just balance reasons.
Yeah, we're bashing our head on the wall of capitalism here. It's more expensive, so it does more damage. It's hard. That's ridiculous, man. I hate the rapiers so friggin' much.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So, yeah, the scimitar is 1d6, short sword 1d6. I was just double checking.
Yep.
The whip.
No, the whip. No, even the whip's netting an advocate is going to say no to the whip.
Yeah, well then of course you have your ranged options, longbow and whatnot, but
Right, but that
We're
kind of-
looking at a multi-class that does not benefit from range.
right.
Correct. But
Yeah.
this is definitely a worthwhile dex cleric.
Yes, absolutely.
So
yeah.
you don't need to touch strength at all with this build.
I'll say this much: in certain party compositions, cleric strength really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Their weapon attack is permanently gimped because they are a one attack caster. That is incredibly bad. As soon as you hit level like 6.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Your cantrip starts to outshine unless you're getting sneak attack.
That is correct.
And that's basically how you're going to have to play this, is if you are not getting sneak attack and you just got to use your cantrip. Otherwise, you got to use your invoke duplicity to make sure you get that advantage.
Or any of the other ways to get sneak attack.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
saying, you make people get up with
Yeah.
you. That's no big
Yeah.
deal.
Actually, so the cantrip power up is on character level, right? I'm
Um,
pretty sure it's on character level. Like 95% sure.
let's just say yes and
So,
correct ourselves later otherwise.
Wait. Yes.
like at level 5 it becomes 2d10.
Very, very yes. This
Yeah.
has been explicitly
Yes,
stated.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's actually meshes really well with the rogue, where you're the rogue and you're you're a melee rogue and you're far away, or you're not going to get sneak attack, and poking it for 1d6 with your short sword isn't going to do much. All right, well, I'm level 8, so let me just cast Sacred Flame and do 2d8, or Toll the Dead and 2d12.
Toll of the Dead.
Yes.
I'm a Grave Cleric, and that's all I'm casting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep, Toll the Dead every
Yeah.
time. Toll the Dead, for what it's worth, is the only D12 cantrip, but it only does a
aware of, yeah.
D12 if they've already taken damage. Now, when you're past level 5, that's 2 D12s, and I will have it be known that at Monsters and Multiclass, our favorite dice is the D12.
We are
just so chunky.
D12 supremacists. If we could replace the D20 with D12s, we would do it.
We've tried to talk about it. It's dumb. It
The
doesn't
math
work.
It does not work.
But
Math is
still,
not in our favor.
but the D12, super fun. Underused die. I love it.
It's just so nice to roll.
It's so nice. See, grab my D12. I can see him over there. Just want to roll it real quick.
No, we don't need to be rolling dice.
All right.
Got die
It's a weird little obsession of ours.
Yeah. Sorry about that
D4s,
tangent.
terrible.
Oh, God, no. I
don't
can't even
roll.
read them.
Worst die.
Yeah, they don't even roll.
Nope.
I'd rather roll a D8 and divide by 2 round up.
Edgiest opinion ever expressed on this podcast.
I'll even take round down if I have to. It's fine.
As long as I don't have to roll those pointy boys, If you catch magic missile
Actually,
at
I
our
think it
table,
would have to be round
get
down
out.
to be even.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
It would.
Whatever.
So the only thing that we haven't really talked about, we've talked a lot about mechanics. Is there anything interesting RP wise that we can think of? Because as of right now, it almost seems too straightforward. Where it's just, you're a trickster rogue. Whatever you want to do as a trickster rogue is what you do for a trickster cleric. It's probably not trickster, it's probably trickery, but whatever.
Trickster.
Yeah, they almost mesh super well. That I'm not seeing.
No, trickery. You're right.
Trickery. Okay. I'm not seeing any issues. Same with Grave Cleric and Assassin. I mean, that's like an interesting one to me because it's like you are worshiping the god of death and you're basically, you think you're the Grim Reaper.
Yep.
That's the only
Cool.
way. Yeah.
That's fun. There's a lot of ways to play that.
I feel like I said this before, probably in the car on the way home with you, Jared, but it really is. If you're a Grave Domain cleric and you're like, I'm not efficient enough at death, I'm going to train with the ninja assassins. That's like the easy into this class combination.
Right. Very much so.
So, one RP thing I wanted to discuss, the possibilities of it. So, with our meta knowledge of how the D&D world works, I'm going to assume our answer would be no to this, but could somebody trick a god into giving them powers? You have like this really witty, clever con artist, mastermind rogue, and they join a temple and they play the part really well and they rise in the ranks and then they become an official cleric.
I'd allow it. It sounds cool. I like the idea of it. You that's always a really big just story point, I guess, is cheating death. So in that case, if you're talking Grave Domain Cleric,
Just any, really.
I know any god, yeah, but like in this case, I'm thinking of like you're basically you play a game with death and you win, and your reward is these powers, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
So that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, or I would think any god's gonna know. They know your actions. They pick and choose their champions and who they give this great power to. So I like the idea of you infiltrate a lawful good, or actually it would probably be a chaotic good temple.
Sure.
So dedicated to a chaotic good god, and they see right through you immediately. This god. Maybe you're conning the members of this temple, but the god sees right through you immediately. But they sit back and let it go. They kind of, the whole God works in mysterious ways. They have a divine plan. They think, all right, we're gonna, this guy's lived a really evil life, but he needs to redeem himself. And now he's trying to take advantage of everybody, but he's surrounded himself by really good people, and now I have him in my sights. We'll let him rise up in the ranks. I'll even bestow some of my cleric powers upon him. And we'll let it go for a bit, and we'll see if he turns, if he actually, surrounding himself in this type of life redeems him.
That'd be really fun, actually, because then you get this idea of like the characters going like, oh yeah, I'm totally tricking this god, but then the god's sitting back and laughing because they're 2 steps ahead.
Yeah,
I like that. I mean, that'd be something really to work in with your DM. I think that could work really, really well if you if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, and then from a world building perspective, you make it a god that's really common in that realm. That's just everywhere, and everyone knows the teachings. It's the most popular or famous one, or whatever. And so now you have this cleric, and being a cleric to a god's a high honor. Most people don't. The highest they get is a priest, and they have no magical abilities.
Which I'd be pissed, by the way, if I devoted my entire life and then Greg down the street just spent like 2 weeks being like, oh, praise Bahamut, and then just poof.
God is great.
Exactly.
Now I can cast fire from the skies.
Exactly.
I can't do anything, man.
So now you have this person going on who's a cleric to this god that everyone knows about, and they are not exemplifying their teachings at all.
Right.
They actually constantly seen using these new abilities for their own personal gain, but they just keep growing in power.
I like that. I like that a lot.
There's probably some edgy take on religion there. It's like, oh, these liars, these charlatans are hijacking religion while the common priests can't do anything. But
Yeah, you could play that up for sure. That's not terrible.
yeah, the reality is if you're ever rolling against God in D&D, it's not going to end well for you.
No, it's
Right.
not.
So I like that take, the take that like, all right, you tried, you failed, but I'm impressed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, have Sacred Flame and Toll of the Dead, you know?
Right.
That's kind of that's a low barrier to entry for the god. So I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. What else can we think of? Say the trickster one is just so simple. It's like you
it's
are
too obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're with a tricky god, and they're like, haha, you're very good at being tricky. Here you go. Here's these tricky powers.
I think like
Tricky,
role play
tricky,
wise,
tricky.
that was a really friggin' good game. Holy shit!
SSX
You could-
tricky.
yeah.
You could do the worm on your snowboard.
So
well
good.
in the air.
That was just ridiculous.
If
That
you
was
fly
incredible.
300 feet into the air,
Oh.
unconnect your boots, do the worm on it, reconnect and land safely and be fine.
So good. What was that for? PlayStation?
That was for
PS2.
everything.
Everything?
No, that was for everything.
Okay.
SSX Tricky came out on every platform.
So good.
I remember SSX was like the first game I got on my PS2.
Mm-hmm.
We loved that game
Same.
so much.
Yeah, me and my brother played the shit out of that.
Same. We didn't have a memory card though, so it was one of those.
That
like,
feel, yeah.
Yep. Let's just keep playing
That
it.
game for me was Final Fantasy IX.
Final Fantasy 9.
Right. I remember.
Yeah, we were talking. I played through the beginning of Final Fantasy IX with my brother so many times because like we had an N64 and then a PS2, so we skipped PS1. Final Fantasy IX came out on PS1, but it still ran on PS2. So we bought it, and we were kids and we didn't know any better, so we didn't have a memory card.
You're like, you're just
Yeah.
supposed to beat this game in,
Yeah, like
60-hour
one sitting,
sessions.
yeah.
If you never turn it off, you can never lose.
Yeah, it was so nice when we figured it out. Oh, just get a memory card.
They're like $12,
right?
Yeah, but you're also like a 10-year-old.
Right, we had to, to like
drive to EB Games.
Yes.
Ooh,
EB Games. That's
Funko Land.
Funko. Oh, man.
That was our local video game store back in, must have been early 2000s and pre-2000s.
We had that in the Ledgewood Plaza.
Yep.
Right by my neighborhood.
Say that's very specific.
It was
to,
next to the borders.
Is it?
I don't think it was a chain.
okay.
I'm pretty
No,
sure
it was a big chain.
Oh, it was.
In
I
this
was too
area,
young.
at least. And then they got bought out by EB Games.
Yeah.
Who then got bought out by GameStop.
Yep. So then we had
GameSpot.
3-4 game stops in the
Right.
mile radius.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Never go to Strongsville, guys. Buy your games online.
So
we still have two of them within a mile of each other.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
One's in the mall, one's in a plaza. That's normal.
Yeah. Cleric Rogue.
Yep.
Cleric Rogue.
Oh, yeah, another one. I like the idea of and it's a good god again. It probably gonna have to be chaotic. I would think to really mesh well with what makes a rogue. Any of the gods would probably need to be chaotic.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they have this rogue cleric who's kind of in their back pocket. They're the last resort. They're the renegade. They don't go by the book, but they get the job done.
Oh my god.
He
and
upped
damn
the
it, they're
edge.
the best damn cleric you have ever seen.
I didn't think it was going to happen, but he upped the edge.
I like it. Are we still talking grave? Or
anything.
Anything?
It's
Okay.
hell, life
Okay.
domain. It would just make it really weird.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah, there is the issue with clerics that they scale linearly like rogues do.
Right.
So every level you lose out on cleric or rogue is a big disadvantage. But yeah, like life domain, that is kind of a hard sell. You really, like as a life domain heal bot, you are so much better off just being a cleric.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mechanically, yeah.
Roleplay wise, that is
Oh, come on, that
a
could be
hard sell. It's like, oh, this is my edgy rogue disciple.
It's like when shit's hitting the fan and no one else is taking care of it. Call this man in.
I have a scene in my head of them interrogating somebody by continuing to stab them and then heal them. Stab, heal, stab, heal.
Perfect.
That's too much, man.
I'm sorry, that's what I got.
I like it.
And then less edgy.
Oh, thank God.
You have an individual they just want to be the best at everything. They're essentially trying to be the ultimate skill monkey. Which rogues are already good at.
Yeah.
They get a bunch of skills and like proficiencies and skills and expertise and stuff like that. So much to the point they dedicate themselves to a god of knowledge.
Okay.
Which are out there, and you have the knowledge domain.
Yeah.
And then they get a bunch more skills as well. And
That's actually really good. You should have brought that up earlier.
why? I'm bringing it up now.
I know. I don't know.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that even a little bit.
I ain't got plans. But yeah, the knowledge domain it really does jive well with that idea of I really want to be great at everything, and I feel like people can really get in that mindset in D&D, and especially in real life. You like enter these situations where you're like, oh man, I wish I was good at this.
Yeah.
I wish I had any ability to do this. This would make my life so good. So D&D is
I don't know that
escapism.
feeling. I'm naturally good at everything I do.
Kevin is naturally mediocre at everything he's ever done.
I've never seen him excel at anything.
It's incredible.
But I've also never seen him fail. He's just middle of the road.
No.
Middle of the road Kevin, that's what we call him.
I mean, Jared's
sad.
Jared's on the higher end of that. I'm on the flip side of that, where it's like, wow, he did incredible. Wow, he's now sleeping on the street. I flip back and forth between that kind of thing. But yeah, no, it is frustrating in a D&D campaign to not be good at everything sometimes.
Right.
And that does fulfill that urge. It's like, wow, I can do anything. It's like, roll an Arcana check. Guess what? I'm good at every check. I'm good at every single thing on the skill list. Mechanically, it's not that big of an advantage, but it does make you feel kind of powerful in a D&D campaign.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's definitely a place for that character that's just proficient at every skill.
Mm-hmm.
Especially they get like expertise where they could double the proficiency and reliable talents on some where the minimum they could roll is a 10.
Yeah, that's always great.
Nice. Yeah.
The minimum I roll is a 10, and also I have +8. Like, okay, well,
So minimum's an 18.
yeah, sorry, the DC's 25, I guess.
Yeah. That's how I got to like a passive perception of like 25.
Right.
With Aurier, the Inquisitive rogue, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wasn't good in combat, but he was basically Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, proficiency, reliable talent, expertise, and then I think it was the perceptive feat. Yeah, feat.
Which
got up to like a base passive perception of 25.
Which I think also increases your passive insight, which I've never seen used in my life.
Insight? Oh, passive insight.
Does every skill have its own passive trait? Because I don't see it mentioned anywhere besides
Not
passive perception.
Specifically, no.
Okay, that's what I figured, because that'd be kind of dumb.
I think a lot of DMs adopt a form of passive in situations where they know, like, oh, this guy's incredibly good at X.
Right.
And they know that any DC that they put out is not going to be failed by them just passively. So yeah, I think that is actually a good approach.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
We're die roll supremacists here. So anything that involves rolling dice, especially D12s, is like the best thing that can happen in the campaign. But there is a time where you're just like, you do understand that. You're an expert in shoeing horses. You know how to shoe this horse, don't roll.
Right. So you've got a very good passive to shoeing horses.
Yeah, honestly, that should have been a specific skill, and I'm upset that they excluded it from D&D.
You don't think animal handling takes care of that?
No, I do not. I think that shoeing horses is a very specific trait.
Not survival?
Nope.
No, just shoeing horses.
Just shoeing horses.
Okay.
Actually, I can't find that. What's it called? It's not called perceptive.
Shoeing horses?
No, perceptive.
That's a good question.
That's not the feat name.
Oh.
I was looking it up. I'm not finding it actually.
I
don't think I made
alert?
that up.
Are you in the player's
Is it
handbook?
alert?
Yeah.
I don't think it's in there.
What are you talking about? Of course it's in there.
I think it's somewhere else. It might be in Xanthers.
No, it's not in Xanthers.
No, this was way before Xanthers.
This is alert.
This was the
Alert?
character. You were still at your apartment.
Yeah.
Like, this was way before Xanathars.
This was during Storm King's Thunder, which is a terrible campaign, by the way.
It's all right as long as you completely throw
Our
out the
final
last.
battle was just like this giant mecha battle.
I hated that.
That was really dumb.
I hated that a lot. But I also made everybody overpowered with magical items. That
yeah,
was totally on
A,
me.
you fucked
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
B, at least my PC became a bad guy in the next campaign.
Right. Honestly, midway through, once you came in, I was like, yeah, this entire campaign is just a segue for the next one. Like, I realized how terrible it was. There's like just poor writing near the end where it's like probably 8 months of build up and then 2 months of just like, oh yeah, and then you just figure everything out and then go to the lair and kill the bad guy. Like, oh, that's not fun at all. At least we've got this awesome PC who's going to be a snake monster next campaign.
We should do campaign reviews and totally alienate ourselves from Wizards of the Coast.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
That's not. They're great. I love all of the pre-written campaigns. No complaints
except for
here.
the fact that they're huge piles of I'm just kidding.
We played a lot of them.
Out of the Abyss,
Yeah.
I'm loving.
Yep.
By the way, but
Thanks. Observant, by the way, is what it's called.
Observant.
All right.
Yeah. Also, you
Yes,
guys
you
aren't in it.
eclipse, yeah.
I feel like I've said this in other episodes, but Waterdeep, Dragon
Waterdeep
Heist,
sounds great.
super good. Super good. I think it's a lot of what we've been looking for in a campaign, and I honestly might play it again just to DM it for you guys because I think you'd both really appreciate it. So
Yeah, I'd be
look
up for
forward to that.
Yeah. So observant, it's +5 bonus to your passive wisdom and passive investigation,
Right.
which both do come up. Or
Investigation.
passive perception, not wisdom. Sorry.
I said
Yeah.
insight. Yeah, investigation. Yeah.
Which comes up.
Does it?
That's a thing. Yeah, that's a written.
I've never seen it in a campaign that I've run.
DMs also fail to be like, oh, what's the difference between, perception and investigation? It's like, I'm going to just abandon all logic and go with the perception. You shouldn't.
No, you
shouldn't.
really shouldn't.
No.
Investigation is figuring shit out.
Right.
And this, like the knowledge domain, rogue multi-class type thing, is a perfect Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But do we need a Sherlock Holmes in a campaign? That depends on what you're running.
Right.
A DM can say, there's no mystery here. You kill goblins, and then you're kind of like shit out of luck and your character sucks.
Right. Yeah, that's when you need a discussion beforehand. And
Right.
yeah,
Right,
it
definitely.
worked out when we played it. That was a mini campaign.
Yeah, that mini campaign was fun.
That was.
I like that.
One point on the perception versus investigation. I think the way that I always view it, and I'd like to hear your guys' opinion as well, is perception is a lot more of like, you're walking down a road and see something, whereas investigation is like you get into a room and you're looking for something. It's more of like the active.
So
search.
there is an official call on this, and the biggest difference is noticing versus discerning.
Right.
It's
Okay.
like, oh, there's magical runes barely visible on this wall, whereas investigation's like, oh, these runes indicate that we have to turn this wheel 3 times, and then the door will open. And that's kind of the issue. A lot of puzzles just kind of beat you over the head and it's like, oh, you noticed it, you win.
Right.
Whereas investigation is, oh, you noticed it, now you have to figure it out.
Right. Right.
So you're not wrong, but that's like the kind of specific thing. And I think a lot of people are way too perception heavy in their campaigns.
Totally agree.
I like there should be a table ban and proficiency in perception.
Well, that was something that I don't know about a table ban, but you mentioned recently was that like you had a low wisdom character just to like force yourself outside of that because perception always seems so important. And I went that way as well with my most recent character because after a while it's like, am I really just going to keep doing this? Am I going to be I've got a high perception, I see absolutely everything. Like it's okay to be bad at stuff.
Right.
And that's just something that obviously we all agree on, so I won't go too much in, but like it's good to be bad at things sometimes. You
Right.
don't want to succeed at everything. That's why you've got 3 other people at the table
Right.
or more.
Yeah. And just to
less.
clarify, on investigation, this is specifically from the player handbook. When you look around for clues and make deductions based on those clues, you make an intelligence investigation check. You might deduce the location of a hidden object, discern from the appearance of a wound what kind of weapon dealt it, or determine the weakest point in a tunnel that could cause it to collapse.
Okay. I like that last one a lot.
Middle
Yeah,
one. Yeah, it's a rapier.
Well, I don't like it because that sounds...
Fucking rogues, man.
It's a 90% chance it's going to be a rapier. This person's hurt. Was it through a rapier? You didn't look at him. Was it through a rapier? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rapier. Why do they always roll rapiers, man?
I was thinking that it sounds just more like a medicine check to me. Maybe it's
Well,
not.
no,
You
it
can
is
go
a
either
medicine
way.
check. But you can also investigate your way around a lot of things. It's a
Right.
very versatile skill that DMs just stomp all over. It's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So as a DM, you just got to be more open-minded to the Sherlock Holmes type investigatorial way. But if you're not proficient in investigation, you shouldn't be able to do a lot of those things because it's a encounter breaking kind of thing. It's like, oh, I investigate. You have like an IQ of 85 and smash things with rocks. You can't investigate. It's like, oh, but I rolled a 20. It's like, oh shit.
There's based on this blood pattern that's spattered on the wall. I believe this was through not a rapier, but the rare short sword. And clearly they were a 5'10".
Grug, you can't even read.
Kevin, I always love your big dumb oaf voice. I feel like you use that for orcs as well as barbarians.
It's
good.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Thanks. More voices is what I'm hearing.
All right.
Yes.
Make barbarians illiterate again.
I think that was a past version thing. That was
Yeah,
part
it
of
was
the
a
class that
past
couldn't
version
read.
thing. The barbarian did not come with the ability to read or write.
That's fantastic.
It is fantastic, and they removed it for D&D 5e.
I mean, you could absolutely make a character like that.
Yeah, no, but that's actually one of the issues is like if you try and make just a really dumb character, a lot of people at the table will just like, no, you can't be that dumb. It's like, no, I insist on being this dumb.
I hate to say it, but that's almost one of my issues with point buy. Because I know that we like point buy and mainly use point buy, but that's the one downside is like if I want to be extremely weak and have a 4 strength, where it's like, yeah, I can barely lift up this chair. You can't do that with point buy.
No.
Yeah, you can. What
No.
do you mean? Like, you don't have
point
to
buy
spend all
has
points.
a minimum
Yeah.
and a maximum.
Oh.
We like it for the maximums it imposes.
Right.
I dislike it for the minimums it imposes.
I think it's pretty easy to homebrew that out, saying you could go below the minimum, but you do not get points back for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. Solved.
Right. Everything's easy to homebrew out. But yeah, okay, I guess I'll do that. And I'm going to play a really dumb character.
All right.
It'll be fun.
3 intelligence,
All right.
bordering on the line of sentience.
But then 18 wisdom.
Super observant.
Yeah.
That kind of.
I know it goes in a salad as opposed to a fruit salad.
You basically
I
be
also
like an animal.
can't read.
Yeah, most of the beasts in it have like 2, 3 intelligence, 10 or higher wisdom.
Right. So it'd work well for a druid, but we're not getting
There
into that.
is a limit on intelligence where it's like you're no longer sentient. I
Right.
think it's like 4.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4.
What's the mind? There's a mind spell that reduces you to
Feeble
one.
mind.
Feeble mind. Yeah,
I think it's 2 or
What's it,
3.
It's 1.
it's
one?
one. You become a literal animal.
Yep.
You can only identify your friends.
Yep, and protect them. You can't cast spells. Yeah, we definitely talked about this on an earlier podcast.
We should make an entire campaign where feeble mind is like the default, and everyone has to behave like a cat.
And you just walk into towns and people are just like, they just see you completely destroying stuff because you're obviously very powerful warriors. You just have no control and they just
Right.
point you towards their problem and you just go and just everybody smashes and moves on. I'd play that.
Yeah.
So
Also, charisma becomes one of it too. Intelligence and charisma.
Which is the perfect combination.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
it's too good. Say, I feel bad casting it on any spellcasters. You're just out of the fight. Sorry.
But at that level, you have ways.
To deal with it. That's why
Yeah.
we have to make a campaign where like the entire
Party is just
permanent feeble mind.
Right.
They have to deal with being IQ 60, for the rest of the entire campaign.
I think it'd be a
Maybe
great
less than 60.
It's I don't know.
I mean,
Less
just have
than
this of
60,
one.
like you can't even wipe your own butt, man.
Oh.
In my perfect world, this comes from a previous campaign where you're all pretty high level, and then just from it's not a TPK, but a feeble mind total party kill, total party feeble mind. And then you just continue the campaign where everybody's become brain dead, but you guys are like, level 16.
The most powerful warriors in the realm now can't read, write, or even recognize.
But everybody in the realm recognizes you. And it's just like, oh man.
How do we deal with these incredibly strong but mentally handicapped people?
And yes, I know, Kevin, you're like, a high-level cleric would offer his services to help them out and remove the curse. No, shut up. They're going to be dumb.
No, I was thinking more how sad of a campaign this could be. They would just be like shells of them former selves. They're heroes of the realm. And like they go out on an adventure to save the day and they come back. And they can't even speak. They can't function on their own. People need to feed them. I mean, that's like someone getting in a really bad accident and becoming almost brain dead, but still able to function from a motor, like move around.
Right, we're still going to make them solve all of our problems. We're still going to be like, okay, all right, come here. Did somebody change him?
Just, like,
all right.
Just baiting them towards the goblin caves. Like, oh, come on. Oh. Just like beating the shit out of things and not even knowing where you are. That's where I see myself in 5 years, to be honest.
This sounds like it may have actual psychological problems that get imprinted on the person playing that character. Spending 3 to 4 hours a week just grunting and killing is probably an issue.
Yeah, let's restart the Christian
DM
campaign against this.
Really dark, where they play up that whole like travesty of everybody responding to, oh my god, what happened to them? Like, this is so terrible, and like everyone's just trying to learn how to deal with these people. And there's talks about, do we just like? I mean, they're so incredibly powerful and they have no control. Do we just try and kill them? I mean,
They couldn't.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, there's no put down roll in the new D&D, so it's like, oh, he's a barbarian with 250 health.
If we try and kill him, he's going to rage and murder everything. This is bad.
Yeah, this is a little too dark for my D&D campaigns.
Anything else
I'm
on
the
Rogue
DM
Cleric?
who brought Tusk into D&D, so
Tusk? When did you do that?
with the it was the random encounter where the crazy deep gnome tried to turn someone into a demon.
Oh, yeah.
It was basically the abridged plot of Tusk.
Yeah.
They tried
I thought
to
that was
surgically alter someone into a demon.
I thought that was pre-written.
No.
You made that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Yeah, that
a
was
weird
weird.
fucked up thing I
So
wanted to
good. He just keeps doing this shit.
I
It's
know.
like, is it in the campaign? No, this is fun. It must be Kevin.
We're sitting here like, Out of the Abyss has been really great. And it's like, no, it's just Kevin.
Yeah, nothing we've done in Out of the Abyss has anything to do with the campaign book. Just Kevin's creativity.
Well, now I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm getting compliments. I don't
Yeah,
know how to
it's-
handle this.
I'm just kidding, Kevin. I have
I'm
no
not used
fun
to
every week.
compliments. Guys, say something mean about me. I really don't know what to do with myself.
You got a dumb face.
You
Thank
fucking
you, yes.
killed
Yeah,
all
I do
our
have
favorite
dumb
party
face.
members for no reason.
Yeah, we did a really good job of protecting all of our party members. And this
Yeah,
guy's
we did.
like, oh, they just have to die.
Oh, that's the exact noise he makes when he kills.
Actually, I
our
think only
favorite
3 of them died.
NPC.
Yeah, it's
The other
been
one,
a whole thing.
yeah. Yes, NPC things of Out of the Abyss. We don't need to go into it.
Yep.
But
But yeah,
we're pretty much almost at our hour. We should probably talk about the Nilbog, because that's a
Seriously?
really cool one, yeah.
damn, we've killed it on not talking about the Rogue Cleric. I think we got everything out there.
We did.
Yeah.
It's a good class. I think it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanically speaking, it can be extremely deadly
Yeah.
if you min-max the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Roleplay wise, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's basically it.
This is a good multi-class. This is one of the first ones that just universally I can totally get behind on both sides.
Wow, this gets the Will stamp of approval.
Even
So-
better than Bard Sorcerer. They
Oh,
literally stare one stat, and they're both full spellcasters.
I know. That's why you shouldn't multi-class in them. You should stick to one thing.
I have no other thoughts. Do you?
No?
All right,
No.
let's move on to the Nilbog.
This week's monster is the Nilbog, personally selected by me. I'm a bit of a goblin fan. I like the idea of little rat monsters that just fuck up everything unless brought to heel by a stronger character. I think they can be utilized in any campaign to make fun things happen with the party. The Nilbog is a just boost to the entire goblin idea. When the goblin gods were brought to heel, a trickster god among them snuck away and became this essence that can possess any goblin and create just a very scary situation. The Nilbog essentially is a madman, a jester who has magical powers. He's not a very intimidating thing, but you can't just smash his head in and move on. He will possess the next goblin, and the next goblin, and the next goblin, and the next goblin. He is the madness in the goblin ranks. He is just perfect. I love the Nilbog.
So for thoroughness, Will, can you share the name of the trickster god that creates the Nilbog with everybody?
It's not mentioned.
This is probably the most ridiculous name in any of the books. Khurgorbaeag.
Kurgorbeag.
Sure.
Kurgorbeag.
Yeah, we're not going to be pronouncing that again.
Nope.
Page 182 of Volo's Guide to Monsters. Go ahead and read it yourself. So this thing's fun.
Yes.
It's challenge rating 1, which seems extremely low. Low in the sense of you wouldn't be placing it against higher level parties at all. But it's got some weird stuff to it. For example, the Nilbogism. So any creature that attempts to damage the Nilbog must succeed on a DC 12 Charisma saving throw or be charmed until the end of the creature's next turn. A creature charmed in this way must use its action praising the Nilbog. That's it.
I love it. Yeah.
That's perfect flavor. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is the embodiment of a jester.
Mm-hmm.
He is the fool of the goblin court, and people only tolerate him because they know the consequences of trying to deal with him.
Yes. Yeah, he's so hard to hit, so you got that. And then if you do manage to hit him, he then has a reaction, reversal of fortune. In response to another creature dealing damage to the Nilbog reduces the damage to 0 and instead regains 1d6 hit points.
Now, the only limiting factor on this is its max HP is 7.
Yes.
So it's very, very low. And, in that case, anything that's actually powerful is going to destroy it in one hit, or 2, because you've got to have, if it uses its reaction up, then you can actually hit it. Great. But it just gives it such a longevity. But really, it's not about killing this thing.
No.
Not at all.
You can't. Even if it says it has 7 hit points. It's the goblin it possesses has 7 hit points. So you kill that goblin, and its essence just leaves the body and possesses another goblin.
Right.
So this thing goes with a herd of goblins. It's really not. It's just it's losing my train of thought here. It's really not something you would fight necessarily. I don't ever see an adventure like, oh, we got to go kill the Nilbog.
Right.
It's just kind of would be thrown in for fun and annoyance and flavor. Because again, you can't kill it. It's ultimately a trickster god that just possesses goblins for fun.
Yeah.
It fucks with people.
The only issue, like a lot of monsters, the issue is that it exists or it's trying to destroy things. We've done tons of monsters where there's just an immediate threat to the common folk. This is only a threat to a large host of goblins. If you're a bugbear commander trying to keep your goblins in line and you suddenly see one of your goblins acting weird, that's the issue. Mm-hmm. Like a bugbear would be the only one who would hire you to get rid of the Nilbog. And that's the situation you're never going to see in like a normal campaign.
Right.
Yeah, but I do like the idea of it. Goblins, I always think terrorizing a village or a town or something. And this thing just being at the lead of it and just running around the town, laughing, setting things on fire, just generally causing a very large amount of chaos.
No, he's a great set piece. I'll say that because it doesn't explicitly state it, but he's dressed just like a fool. And all of his innate spellcasting is essentially magical bullying. Yeah. It's Tasha's hideous laughter, vicious mockery, confusion.
And even Mage Hand.
You know? Yeah. I'll let him have Mage Hand in the rogue sense of it.
The arcane
so he can
Mage Hand.
steal your keys,
Exactly.
Throw him in a river for no reason.
Yeah, so he's going to be the annoying caster in the back, just fucking with the party as they try and take out all these goblins and bugbears and hobgoblins. And you go in and you manage to get lucky on your rolls and smash his face in, and this little green orb shoots out into another goblin. Just starts again. Or even worse, you go and try and smash its face in, and you raise your massive great axe, and you stop, and you just can't do it. And you fall to your knees and praise him.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's great.
You're hilarious, little buddy. What am I doing? I wanted to smash him.
So this actually brings up an interesting point with the not extremely recent, but recent addition of the goblin race. Can't you play a goblin now?
You can, in fact, play a goblin.
So there's nothing here limiting that Nilbog taking control of you.
Yeah, Nilbogism is separate from the Nilbog. The Nilbog is a goblin manifested with the spirit of this trickster god.
Right.
Nilbogism is the much bigger threat that will never go away. We've said this before. If you're rolling against a god in D&D, you probably fucked up.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat this. You're only going to abate this. You could ruin a character turning him into a jester type.
You don't need to ruin it because it does actually have specific ways to get him out.
Yes.
And what are those?
It says you can use the Hallow spell, magic circle, protection from good and evil, and then it will leave that body and find a new one.
Right.
So, I mean, it could just be a temporary thing that is kind of hilarious.
Right.
You know, it's like you've been overcome with the inability to care about anything. Everything's a joke to you, and you just want to cause chaos. I mean, if that was like a session I had to spend doing that, it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. And then I like the flavor of it where if a Nilbog shows up in goblin ranks, or if it's even thought to be a Nilbog, like you said, just a goblin starts acting weird, they are given free reign of everything. They have access to everybody. Any discussion could go anywhere, get anything they want. The bugbears and hobgoblins that are bullying and leading these goblins around, leave it alone. They want something, they give it to them.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So
then you could have fake
favorite.
Nilbogs. Some crafty goblin who's just slightly more intelligent than the rest realizes he could just kind of start acting like a jester and have the good life.
That's actually really interesting. That leads to something that you could have PCs handle. If you had it where it was a Nilbog, they had to figure out that this was a Nilbog, the history behind them, and then try and figure out, is this the real deal? You know, is it just tricking everybody and we need to just go in and kill it? Or is it an actual Nilbog, and if we do this, we're just going to cause more problems? Because the goblins should be pretty aware of it when they murder this first one that's acting crazy, and then a giant green spirit comes and possesses the next one. They should usually go, oh, okay, this guy's the real deal, and we'll just leave it there.
Mm-hmm. Except for they don't do that. They don't murder them.
Right, I'm saying
everyone's too afraid to get possessed.
Correct. They don't. But you can come in, and you can try it one time at least, and you know, it's just something fun for the PCs to have to figure out, I think.
And this does go back into my goblin fascination. I think goblins, as a boring, sack of meat types
entry level monster,
it's not a good way to play this. I think goblins are their own society. Yeah, they're mean, they're evil, they're just terrible little creatures, but they're their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just throw them in a pile with the other monsters. They do have their own society. They have their own hierarchies. And I love that the Nilbog just throws that in chaos.
Right, just breaks it.
I mean, like you were saying, the fake Nilbogism. That'd be hilarious if you had a situation where, like, an entire camp of goblins learn that they can get away with shit just because they're pretending to be insane. That's good flavor for a low-level campaign.
Right, definitely. And then it's up to the PCs to either just slaughter them all and figure out which one's real, or just leave it and just be like, you know what? That's too much. It's too much for us. Right.
And I think the easy trap is if you look at the Nilbog and say, this is just going to make, the goblin encounter slightly harder, because it is a higher challenge rating. It's got spellcasting. It is not something that very low-level PCs can deal with easily.
No.
But at the same time, if you just treat it as bash all these goblin skulls in, problem goes away. And that's kind of that in my opinion is wasting the potential of the Nilbog to
Definitely.
just sow chaos.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I do think it's got a lot of really fun actions though as a first or a challenge rating 1. Usually that's pretty limiting.
Mm-hmm.
I already said it's Nilbogisms. It's also got its nimble escape. The Nilbog can take the disengage or hide action as a bonus action on each of its turns. It almost is kind of roguey in that aspect. I guess that's it. And on top of the Nilbogism, spell casting, and that reversal of fortune, it's just a much more interesting enemy than a standard goblin.
Yeah, these spells are great for sowing chaos. Tasha's hideous laughter, vicious mockery, just like reducing people to laughing messes, praising messes. It's just funny.
Yeah.
You can really screw things up. And with a monster with 7 HP, you think of it as something that's very disposable, but this is a situation that explicitly is not disposable.
Right.
Because it becomes the next enemy and the next enemy and the next enemy. And you still have all these things at your disposal.
So I thought of something where the party goes in, thinks it's a regular goblin problem, let's say, and standard, hey, please help us with this. They go, they find out there's this weird little goblin who's dancing around, try and kill him like normal, possesses another goblin, and he just keeps using his spell casting until he just makes them a laughing pile of nothing on the floor, or gets them with confusion. I mean, after a while, the PCs are going to lose if there's enough goblins and they're low enough level. And then you can get into you capture them, and now they can start observing the goblin lifestyle from cages and play that up. They now have to escape. They realize there's just no way they're going to win, and it's all about getting out of this goblin camp. And that'd be a pretty fun way to play it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It's a good way to I guess throw off your PCs, because if they just know, oh, it's goblins. Well, goblins means we're going to win. It's just something that is basically unwinnable for them.
Right. And then especially if they get captured, really play up the Nilbog so it's a gesture like that's fun, bully people, but I mean it's chaotic evil.
Mm-hmm.
Its version of that could probably get pretty dark.
Right, right.
And then put in the PCs through a lot of really just terrible shit that they have to figure out and endure, kind of almost like
torture?
No, not torture.
The movie Saw?
That's what initially where I was going, no, that's not going to translate well to D&D. But they set them up in tasks that they have to do, and pair them against really terrible monsters they have to fight, and just for its own amusement and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Because it's the chaotic evil Nilbog. It just doesn't give a shit.
It's just bored.
Yeah.
And
it's pissed that it was taken out and its other gods were taken out.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too, to be honest.
Also, I love its staff because it's an exact replica of its own face.
Yes.
That's comedy gold right there.
Yeah.
Beating someone to death with your own face.
Yes.
On a stick.
The Fool's Scepter. I almost wish that had some other ability to it. I know that'd be...
a rider to it. Yeah.
Right, it'd be kind of powerful. Again, it's challenge rating 1. But if I was going to up this, that'd probably be the first thing that I look at is, hit him with the staff, and it causes you to make a save. If you fail, you might be stunned or
confusion for
something
a
like
turn,
that.
yeah.
Exactly.
You could do a lot with this character, especially you could even create something like advanced Nilbogism, where the Nilbog itself, there's a very low challenge rating. It's been in this goblin so long, he becomes good, good at stuff.
Yeah.
And the Nilbog staff could, you bash him and turns it into an exact replica of the other Nilbogs and make your party incredibly confused as he's bashing people on the head and creating this faux polymorph.
Oh my God.
That's just a fun trick you can add with no real mechanics, but it definitely challenges your party.
Right.
Because now they're looking like 6 Nilbogs and half of them are their friends.
You could even do
what the hell's going on?
You could even do a fun little thing where the 3 cups, you put a ball underneath and you switch them around.
Oh yeah, the shuffle game.
Right, shuffle game, yeah. Where he bashes his goblin buddies and they all look like the Nilbog, and now you have to figure out, well, which one's the real one. Which, I mean, you'd be able to discern from mechanics, but those first couple of turns would be a fun way to spin it. Yeah, there's so much you can do with this. It's a great enemy.
Yeah, mechanically, the core of it is a goblin with spellcasting.
Right.
But spiritually, it is a god possessing goblins and sowing discord, which is just, it's a beautiful combination. I love that. I love discord. I love goblins, man. This is a great addition. This is one of my favorite monsters in the Volos.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
No, I got nothing else on it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for sitting in, everyone.
Bye.
Next week on Monsters and Multiclass.
Tune in next week for a special Christmas episode where we try and build Santa Claus and go on other weird tangents and get drunk off Christmas ale.
We could get drunk this time?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get blasted.
All right.
Hell yeah.